Hi, my name is Katie Garth. I'm a Feldenkrais practitioner, and today I will be teaching you 2 relaxation exercises to help reduce overexcitation during the day and to help increase peaceful slumber at night. For today's lessons, you'll need a stool or a chair to sit in. It can be any kind of chair. It can be a comfortable armchair, or you can sit on the floor if you're more comfortable that way. And also you'll need a mat and 2 blankets and a pillow or 2. So I would go ahead and grab 2 pillows. You'll see throughout the lesson what kind of support you'll need, but I would go ahead and grab at least 2 blankets, 2 pillows, a mat, and a chair. So if you need to do that now, go ahead and pause. For this lesson, my partner will be doing the lesson and I will be teaching. Alright, so go ahead and start by sitting on the stool. Go ahead and rest in the chair. And go ahead and just get settled and close your eyes. So as you begin to rest and get settled in your chair, we're going to do an exercise called the main squeeze. This simple but powerful mini lesson, practice regularly, can help you rest and recover more quickly from the stresses of daily life so that you can enjoy deeper, more restful sleep at night. For the best results, practice this 2 or 3 times a day for a few minutes or more each time. With regular practice, your life will become more peaceful. And when your life is more peaceful, your sleep is more peaceful. As you sit in a chair with your back upright, if possible, see if you can have the soles of your feet flat on the floor. See if you can sit on the front half of the seat, and if not, sit any way that you like. Make yourself as comfortable as you can. Sit quietly and take a few moments to see how you feel. What do you notice about yourself while sitting like that? You may want to close your eyes if you haven't already to make it easier to feel and sense. You needn't change anything at this time. Just notice what is. As you softly inhale, softly exhale, allow your breath to come and go of its own accord. Now please join your hands by placing them in your lap with palms down. You may place a pillow in your lap if you like to make your hands more comfortable. Bring your hands together by grasping one thumb from above. Free your index finger from the grasping and point it forward. Then bring the 4 fingers of the other hand over the top and hold the index finger. So now you should be holding your thumb with one hand and your index finger with the other. Go ahead and place the hands in your lap. Take a few moments to hold and see how it feels to sit quietly with your hands joined like this. As you sit quietly, breathe naturally. Make no effort to breathe deeply or in any special way. Each time you breathe in, simply allow your breath to arrive. Each time you breathe out, just let it go. Let it be light, easy, soft, and unhurried. Take all the time you need for each breath. Then direct your attention to the feeling of your index finger and of your thumb, and in your 2 hands that are joined like that. What do you feel there in your 2 hands? You may encounter a wide variety of sensations. You may just feel the sensation of contact between your 2 hands. Or you might feel warmth or coolness or any kind of temperature sensation there in your 2 hands. You might feel a kind of pulsation, like your heartbeat, or something slower or faster than that. You might feel a pleasant tinkling or radiating sensation there in your hands. Or you might feel some other pleasant sensation that is unique and personal to you. And if you pay very close attention, you may notice that the sensation there in your hands feels very different depending on whether you're breathing in or breathing out. When you breathe in, your hands feel one way, and when you breathe out, they feel a little bit different. See if you can tell the difference as you softly breathe in, softly breathe out, taking all the time you need for each breath. And now each time you softly exhale, slowly, gently, gradually squeeze your index finger. And each time you softly inhale, gradually relax your grip on the finger. This squeezing movement should be gentle and gradual, using minimal force. It should be the lightest, softest squeeze you can do, yet still feel something. Repeat this several times. As you exhale, squeeze your index finger. As you inhale, relax your grip. As you softly squeeze your finger is gently, gradually compressed. As you softly inhale and relax your grip, the finger expands. Synchronize the squeezing movement with the natural rhythm of the breath. However long it takes you to exhale, that's how long it takes you to gradually squeeze your finger. However long it takes you to inhale, that's how long it takes you to gradually release your grip on the finger. As you softly inhale, softly exhale, taking all the time you need for each and every breath. And now, keeping your hands joined like that, keeping your eyes closed if you like, just stop and rest and allow some time to pass. Let your hands relax as much as possible. Let your breath be light, easy, soft, and unhurried. Simply allow your breath to come and go of its own accord. Notice how it feels to rest quietly after doing several of these gentle squeezing movements. Do you notice any changes in yourself? Is there anything different in your mood, or your muscles, or your mind? Is your mind racing, or do you notice that your thoughts seem to have slowed down a bit? Perhaps life doesn't have the usual sense of urgency at this moment. If so, you're on the right track. And by the way, notice the feeling there in your hands now. You may find the sensation of warmth, pulsation, or radiation there in your hands is more pronounced now than before, or has shifted in some other way. If so, that's an indication that you're becoming deeply relaxed. Come back into the same position with the hands if you've separated them. You take the thumb from over top, release the index finger, and grip it with the other hand. So that one hand is gripping the thumb, the other is gripping the index finger. Okay, so one more time. Come over the, okay, got it. So this time we'll do the same squeezing movement, but instead of squeezing your index finger, you'll squeeze your thumb. So let's try that. Each time you softly exhale, would you very gently, very gradually squeeze your thumb. Then as you softly inhale, gradually relax your grip. As before, synchronize the squeezing movement with your breath. Each time you softly exhale, you gradually squeeze your thumb. And you keep squeezing for as long as that exhalation lasts. Then, when the exhalation has completely subsided and the next inhalation begins, you slowly, gradually relax your grip on your thumb. This squeezing movement is synchronized with the natural rhythm of your breath, whatever that may be. Repeat the movement several times. Exhale, squeeze your thumb. Inhale, relax. When you squeeze, use minimal force. As long as you can feel the squeeze, that's enough. After each squeeze, allow your hands to come to a state of complete repose. And then stop and rest and feel the result of what you have done. Notice the sensation in your fingers, hands, and wrists now. If you pay close attention, you may notice a similar feeling in your arms or in your shoulders. You may feel it somewhere in your chest, your belly, or in your back. Open yourself to any pleasurable sensations that may arise anywhere in your body. They are your key to relaxation, tranquility, and inner peace. If you've separated your hands, go ahead and join them together again now. Taking the thumb from over top, releasing the index finger, and grasping it with the other hand. Next, we will combine these two movements in an alternating 2-breath sequence. On the first breath, each time you softly exhale, slowly, gradually squeeze your thumb. As you softly inhale, relax your grip. Then, on the second breath, as you softly exhale, squeeze your index finger. As you softly inhale, relax your grip. Repeat that squeezing movement several times, alternating between the thumb and the index finger. Softly exhale, squeeze your thumb. Softly inhale, relax. Exhale, squeeze your index finger. Inhale, relax. Take care to synchronize the squeezing movement with the natural rhythm of your breath. Light, easy, synchronized movements in breathing can have a profound effect on your mind and body. If for any reason you prefer not to synchronize the movements with the breath, you can harmonize them instead. That means do the movements at a slow, rhythmic pace, similar to the rhythm of your breath. Whether you harmonize or synchronize, you will get all the benefits. A key point is to make those squeezing movements small, gentle, and gradual, just enough to allow you to feel. Those minimal movements are a stimulus that will relax your body, calm your mind, and bring you to a state of deep, restful repose. This is nature's most powerful antidote to the stress of life. And then keeping your hands like this, closing your eyes if you like, please rest quietly and feel the result of what you have done. Let your hands be completely at ease. As you softly inhale, softly exhale, allowing your breath to come and go of its own accord. By the way, these rest periods following the movements are the most important part of this practice. The movements act as a gentle stimulus. The rest periods give the mind and the body the time they need to receive the stimulus, process it, and respond by becoming deeply, deeply relaxed. When you practice on your own, always remember to alternate by periods of squeezing and periods of repose. Do several movements and then rest for several breath cycles. You'll find that after several movements and rests, your mind can become very calm and still. Once you've arrived at that tranquil place, just relax and enjoy the scenery. No further movements are necessary. The longer you linger in that tranquil state, the more completely you will recover from the stress of life. If at any time you notice that your mind is racing, or if you're distracted by troubling thoughts, simply do the movements a few more times. Exhale, squeeze your thumb. Inhale, relax. Exhale, squeeze the index finger. Inhale, relax. You will regain your focus very quickly. As you rest like that, look for any changes in the state of your mind and body. Do you feel anything different in your forehead, or your cheeks, or your jaw? Do you feel anything different in your eyes, your lips, or your tongue? Is your mood a little different than before? Is your mind a little clearer and calmer? Do you feel more peaceful? As you softly inhale, softly exhale, taking all the time you need for each breath. And what about the sensations there in your two hands now? Do you still feel the same sensations there? Contact between the two hands, temperature sensations, a pleasant tingling or radiating sensation? Or do you feel something different? Just direct your attention there to your two hands and see what you feel. To conclude this part of the practice, would you slowly begin to rock from side to side to begin to separate your two hands. Then very slowly open your eyes and reorient yourself in the room. Welcome back. For this next part of the lesson, go ahead and find your way to your mat or blanket or pad on the floor. For this lesson, you'll be resting on your back. Make sure you set yourself up with any pillows you may need, pushing aside anything you don't. As you find your way to rest comfortably and completely on your back, support yourself in any way that you may need to be comfortable for the next 30 or 40 minutes or so. You may keep your legs long, or if you have a bolster or roller, you can support the knees. Allow your arms to rest by your side. Make sure you have space between the legs. And begin to sense and feel your contact with the floor. Notice where you feel areas of heaviness. Notice where you feel areas of light contact and areas of no contact. Make sure that your head is properly supported and that you have everything you need to be comfortable. This next lesson is called Freeing Your Natural Breath, and it's designed to help allow the breathing to become easier, more pleasurable, and more balanced. When your breath is easier, pleasurable, and balanced, you're more resistant to stress and disease, and you feel more at peace with yourself and with the world around you. When you practice this at bedtime, natural breathing provides a bridge between the activated waking state and that sleepy, dreamy, drowsy state that immediately precedes the onset of sleep. Make sure the place you're resting is comfortable. As you rest quietly for a few more moments, allow your breath to be light, easy, and soft. Do not hurry. Make no effort to breathe deeply or in any special way. Each time you breathe in, simply allow your breath to arrive. Each time you breathe out, just let it go. Allow your breath to come and go of its own accord. It should be, quite literally, the easiest thing in the world. As you may know, there are many different kinds of breathing techniques, many ideas about what the best way to breathe is. And whatever you may have been taught, whatever you may know or believe about your breath, please just set that aside, only for the time being. And just for now, instead of trying to control your breath, would you please just let it be? That way, your natural breath will emerge of its own accord. You don't have to do anything. As you rest like that, allow your breath to be light, easy, soft, and unhurried. When your breath is light, easy, soft, and unhurried, it automatically adapts itself to what you're doing and how you feel in that moment. As a result, you automatically receive the right amount of breath for each moment of your life. And the simple act of breathing in and breathing out is pleasurable all by itself. By the way, as you begin to direct your attention to your breath, you may notice that it seems to change in response to that attention. As you notice the breath at first, it might get a little faster or a little slower, perhaps a little deeper or a little shallower, simply because you're observing it. If so, do not be concerned. It is a perfectly natural response. For now, simply follow the spoken instructions in the easiest, most natural way you can. And let your breath do what it will without judging or evaluating the outcome. You can do no wrong. Please place your hands, palms down, on your lower breathing space, on your lower abdomen. Position your hands so that the tips of your thumbs touch each other very lightly, just above your navel, and your index fingers touch each other lower down on your belly. The space between your hands forms something of a triangular opening, and your elbows rest comfortably on the floor at your sides. It may be helpful to place a pillow under each of your elbows for support, especially if they don't reach the floor comfortably. Rest like that with your hands on the lower breathing space, letting your hands be very soft and relaxed. As you rest like this, just notice the movement of your breath there in the lower breathing space. Each time you breathe in, your belly rises and expands. Each time you breathe out, your belly sinks and relaxes. Each time you breathe in and your belly rises and expands, your hands rise with your belly. Each time you breathe out and your belly sinks and relaxes, your hands sink with your belly. You needn't do anything with your hands. Just allow them to rise and fall with the movement of your breath. Then please direct your attention to the point of contact between your two thumbs. As you breathe in and your belly rises and expands, what happens to the contact between the two thumbs? Does it get firmer and more distinct, or does it get lighter and less distinct? As you breathe out and your belly sinks and relaxes, what happens to the contact between your thumbs then? Does it get firmer and more distinct, or does it get lighter and less distinct? Continue like that for a few moments more, following the movements of the breath and the changes in the quality of the contact between the thumbs. Your hands are very sensitive instruments. You are using those very sensitive instruments to monitor the rising and falling, expanding and contracting movements of your natural breath. As you softly inhale, softly exhale, taking all the time you need for each breath. Little by little, you become very still, very tranquil, very peaceful. Your muscles relax, your heart rate slows, and your mind becomes calm and clear. Once you achieve that state of inner stillness, tranquility, and peace, you are already on the path towards sleep. Now slowly remove your hands from your belly and let them rest on either side of your body. Notice how it feels in the lower breathing space now. Before, you were using your hands to monitor the movements of the breath from the outside. Now you continue to monitor the movements of your breath using your internal senses alone. As a result, you may notice that your breath feels a little freer, a little easier, a little softer than before. Or you may notice nothing in particular. Rest like that a few moments longer and continue to breathe naturally. You neither hurry the breath nor delay it. Simply allow the breath to come and go of its own accord. As you do that, look for any pleasurable feelings that may arise anywhere in your body. These pleasurable bodily sensations are your ever-present reminder of the joy of being alive. Now please move your hands a little higher. And with your fingertips, find the lowermost ribs on either side of your trunk at the border between your chest and belly. These lower ribs originate at the bottom of your breastbone and make descending curves to the right and to the left. Place your right hand on the lowermost rib on the right, palm down, so that the rib is cradled in the palm of your hand. Your right hand rests on the lower part of your rib cage, and the right fingers rest on the upper part of your belly. Now do the same thing with your left hand. Place your left hand on the lowermost rib on the left, palm down, so that the left rib is cradled in the palm of the left hand. That entire area of the trunk underneath your hands, which includes the lower portion of the chest, the lowermost ribs, and the upper part of the belly, is the front of the middle breathing space. With your hands resting there on the front of the middle breathing space, please rest the position of your hands so that the tips of your 2 index fingers and the tips of your 2 middle fingers lightly touch each other. See if you can get comfortable with your 2 hands making contact like that, while your elbows rest comfortably on the floor at your sides. If for any reason that position isn't to your liking, simply try to make contact between the 2 hands in a way that is the most comfortable to you. As before, it may be helpful to place a pillow under each of your elbows for support. With your hands resting on the middle breathing space like that, simply breathe naturally. Just as the lower breathing space has its own characteristic movement, so does the middle breathing space. Each time you breathe in, the middle breathing space rises and expands in a certain way. Each time you breathe out, the middle breathing space sinks and relaxes. And each time you breathe in and the middle breathing space rises and expands, your two hands rise with it. And each time you breathe out and your middle breathing space sinks and relaxes, your two hands sink with it. Each time you breathe in and the middle breathing space rises and expands, and your hands rise with it, something changes about the contact between the fingers of the two hands. Does that contact get firmer and more distinct? Or does it get lighter and less distinct? Do the fingers seem to be moving closer together or further apart? And each time you exhale and the middle breathing space sinks and relaxes and your hands sink with it, what happens with the quality of contact between the fingers then? Touching the breath with your hands like that helps you sense and feel the movement of the breath more clearly and easily, there in the middle breathing space. That's what enables you to shift your attention away from the fast, irregular, unpredictable rhythms of the external world, attending instead to the gentle, regular, predictable rhythms of your inner world, your breath, and your body. As a result, there is a shift in your consciousness, a shift in the way you think, feel, and perceive. That shift in your consciousness enables your mind and body to recover from the stress of life and to deeply, deeply rest. And by the way, you don't have to think when you do this. This is not an intellectual activity. Rather, you simply allow yourself to feel, to be aware of this breath, this moment, this movement. When thinking is replaced by feeling, your mind becomes very still and your whole body relaxes. And whatever your body is holding on to, you can just let it go. Continue breathing like that for some time, observing the rising and falling of your lower ribs and the changes in the quality of contact between your fingers as you softly inhale, softly exhale, taking all the time you need for each breath. Then slowly remove your hands from the middle breathing space and allow them to lie comfortably at your sides. Rest quietly and feel the result of what you've done. Continue to monitor the soft, rhythmic movements of the middle breathing space using your internal senses alone. The amount of breath your body needs changes from moment to moment, depending on what you're doing and how you feel. When you allow your breath to be light, easy, soft, and unhurried, you automatically receive just the right amount of breath for each moment of your life. At that moment, your body's needs are being met with exquisite accuracy. As a result, you feel the result of profound pleasure, well-being, and inner peace. And next, would you bring your hands to rest on the upper part of the chest, somewhere above your breast and below your collarbones. Arrange your hands so that the tips of your middle fingers lightly touch each other in the middle of your chest, or simply place your hands on the upper part of your chest in the way that's the most comfortable for you. As always, you are welcome to place a pillow or folded towel under each of your elbows to enable a more comfortable position of your hands and arms. And now just observe the movement of the breath there in the upper breathing space. Each time you breathe in, your chest rises and expands. Each time you breathe out, your chest sinks and relaxes. Each time you breathe in and your chest rises and expands, your hands rise with it. Each time you breathe out and your chest sinks and relaxes, your hands sink with your chest. And then just notice, each time you breathe in and your chest rises and expands, what happens to the contact between the middle fingers of your two hands? Does it get firmer and more distinct, or lighter and less distinct? And each time you exhale and your chest sinks and relaxes, what happens to the contact between the hands? Firmer and more distinct, or lighter and less distinct? Continue like that for several breaths, directing your attention to the changes in the quality of contact between the middle fingers, or between whichever parts of your hands are touching each other. As you softly breathe in, softly breathe out, taking all the time you need for each breath. As before, placing your hands on your chest makes it easier to feel how your chest moves as you breathe. Remember, make no effort to breathe any special way. Each time you inhale, simply allow the breath to arrive. Each time you exhale, just relax your body and let the breath flow out. It should be the easiest thing in the world. Breathing is a natural process, and like all natural processes, it may be somewhat irregular. Some breaths may be a little faster, others a little slower. Some breaths may be deeper, others more shallow. There may be occasional lulls when your breath becomes very still for a time. It doesn't matter as long as your breath is light, easy, soft, and unhurried. Continue to sense and feel the breath. Whenever you're ready, you may take your hands away from the upper breathing space and let them come to rest on the floor at your sides. Allow some time to pass as you continue to follow the movements of the breath there in your upper breathing space by means of your internal senses alone. Continue resting quietly, enjoying the light, easy quality of breath. and any other pleasurable sensations that come with it. Finally, as you rest like that a little longer, allow your attention to move freely along the lower, the middle, and upper breathing space, and see how it feels to breathe now. Remember, each breath unfolds a little differently from the one before it. No two breaths are exactly alike, and there is no single correct way to breathe. When you practice natural breathing, the goal is not to breathe in any particular way, but instead to become deeply absorbed in this breath, this movement, this moment. You may drift, you may dream, you may doze, you may experience lucid waking insights or inspirations, or you may simply feel very peaceful, very still. Whatever it may be, just continue to rest quietly and enjoy the effect of what you have done. I'm going to end this session with a very long scan. So as you lie on the floor now, begin to examine your contact. Notice your arms down by your sides. Notice the length of your legs. And if your eyes are not already closed, take a moment to close your eyes and feel the contact you're making with the floor. Notice that there are places where you press into the floor very clearly. Just find them for yourself, wherever you can feel the weight of yourself supported by the floor. You will find places where there's clear contact and places where there's no pressure at all. Just notice that there are places where you're pressed and places of no contact. Feel the weight of the shoulders across your back, and perhaps you can feel behind your pelvis, where your pelvis touches the floor, and the back of your head. And can you feel your right heel as it touches the floor, and your right calf, your thigh on the right side of your pelvis, your buttock really. Feel your entire right leg from your heel to your buttock, and get a sense of the length of your long right leg, the weight of it. How you feel your right leg internally has nothing to do with how it looks from the outside. It's just about how you directly experience your right leg. And then begin to examine your left heel. Begin to notice the left calf, knee, the left thigh, and the buttock on the left. And just get a sense of the left leg as it lies. And compare now how your left leg feels with how your right leg feels. Are they touching the floor in the same way? Is one leg more comfortable than the other leg? Or longer? Or maybe closer to the midline of the body? What is it for you? You see, there's no right or wrong. We just check and investigate. And across the back of your pelvis, is there more weight on one side or the other? Can you feel the space behind your lower back where your spine lifts? Feel how your back contacts the floor. Is there more weight behind one side of your rib cage or the other? Is there more pressure, or are there more ribs pressing on either the left or the right? And what about your shoulders? Are your shoulders lying the same way? Or is one pressing into the floor in a different manner than the other? We are looking to make differentiations. We are not looking to say one is better than another. We are simply looking to note that there are differences. And in fact, what our nervous system is designed to do is to integrate differences. So in the case of examining the shoulders, we just want to notice that, okay, my right shoulder feels this way, my left shoulder feels that way, and that's okay, that's enough. Notice your right arm and your left arm. Notice the contact of each arm. Does one feel longer? Does one contact the floor differently? And then begin to notice the space behind your neck. Can you feel that there's a lifting here? It lifts somewhere between your shoulder blades and then descends to where your head touches the floor. Get a sense of the shape of the space and the weight of the head. And now feel yourself from your right heel all the way up through your right side, through the leg, through the right side of the pelvis, the right side of the ribs, the right shoulder, the right side of the neck, and maybe even the right side of your face. And just feel your entire right side. And then shift and allow your awareness to go to your left side so you can feel the whole of your left side. Notice how the two sides feel. Spend a moment on the left side examining the length from the heel to the leg, to the left side of the pelvis, the left side of the ribs, the left shoulder, the left side of the neck, and perhaps even the left side of the face or head. And now comparing the two sides, noticing any differences you may feel from side to side. Anything you notice is sufficient. It may be that one side is heavier or longer, or shorter, or more comfortable, or less comfortable. Don't make any changes. Just be with what is. And then once more, check in with your breath. Let go of the attention being specific and just notice how the breath comes in and leaves the body. Do not breathe in any special way. Just allow the breath to come in and leave of its own accord. Notice if you feel the breath more in the belly or the ribs, perhaps the nose or the throat. When we breathe without doing any work, it's very easy. There is no strain. Make sure your jaw is soft. And are your teeth clenched, or can you just allow your teeth to part a little bit so that you have some more space? Can you allow for more space inside of the mouth? Check to make sure your hands are soft. To conclude this scan, do one movement of rolling the head a little bit to the left, and then to the middle, and to the right, and back to the middle. Go very small without making a very big movement. The idea is to find the movement to begin with, a very gentle, easy movement of rolling the head left and right. Notice that as you roll to the left, there is a place of resistance, so don't go any further. On both sides, in fact, there will be a place as you're rolling where your nervous system says stop. Try to find a way of rolling the head where you don't go into a place where you need to stop. So you stay within a comfortable range, and there's no forcing, no effort, no chance of being successful doing something that's completely unimportant. The most important thing you can do is to put your attention on the movement and to notice yourself without any judgment. We want to find this quality of movement every time we do a Feldenkrais lesson and tune into ourselves, where we're not straining. We actually give ourselves permission to be where we're comfortable and where we're at. It's very difficult than it's very different than our ordinary way of being, where we're being pushed and strained by our environment to always go to the maximum. Here we want to go to the easy, to the comfortable, and to the pleasurable. And if you were still rolling the head, go ahead and bring that to a stop now. And rest one last time to feel the contact that you make with the floor now. Notice any sensitive sensations that have come up since the last time you checked in with your contact. Notice the places where you feel heavy. Notice the places where you make light contact. And notice the places where you make no contact. By noticing, this is how our brain learns. The motor cortex, which controls our movements, learns by sensing differences. We did this when we were children as we learned to walk and crawl. When you're ready, slowly bring your legs to a standing position, but you may also rest longer here if you like. So at this point, if you'd like to turn off the tape or if you've drifted off, that's completely fine. If you're still with me, bring the legs to stand in your own time, taking all the time you need for each movement. Continue to notice the breath so that there are no changes in breathing as you move. And then roll on to one side and rest there for a moment. You may need to pull a blanket or pillow under your head here for support. And just for a moment on the side here, begin to sense and feel the breath in this position. And whichever ribs are facing the ceiling, begin to notice the sensation there as you breathe. As you inhale, your ribs separate and get further apart. As you exhale, they come back together. As you inhale and the ribs get further apart, the top shoulder also moves up just a little bit. As you exhale and the ribs come together, the shoulder returns to its original position. And now notice the hip that you have, the top side of your hip. As you inhale and the ribs get further apart, you may feel that the pelvis also moves down a little bit away from the shoulder. And as you exhale and the ribs come together, the pelvis comes back into a neutral position. Each time you inhale and the ribs expand and create more space, the shoulder and the pelvis move a little bit further away from each other. And each time you exhale and the ribs come closer together, the shoulder and the pelvis also come a bit closer together. And see if you can notice that as you lie here on your side. When going to sleep at night, if you're someone who lies on the side, this is a nice way to fall asleep by noticing the expansion and contraction of the ribs on the top side. So if you lie on your left side, you'll notice that the ribs on the right are what you can perceive moving. As you inhale, they spread apart. As you exhale, they come together. As you inhale, you create more space between your top shoulder and top hip. And as you exhale, they come back together. The movement is very subtle. And looking for something very subtle and tuning in right before bed can be an excellent way to drift off and begin to doze. At the very least, it provides the body with a sense of relaxation as you focus internally on the predictable rhythms of the body and breath. And then as you're ready, slowly come up to a seated position. If you're still with me. You may want to take some time in the seated position to reorient yourself with the room.